All right, welcome, welcome. Um, I'm excited for today's topic, which is I call it the truth of who you are. And it's really kind of getting into like the non-duality. Now, Claudia, obviously, and Megan, you guys both went through alchemy, so we did do this. But are you guys familiar with non-duality? Have you ever like heard of that or heard any teachers that teach on this? Okay. It's like a very old and ancient teaching, and it really is about getting to the core essence of who we are, which is pure consciousness. And so I am going to take us through a bit of a longer meditation. So let's do wins first, and then we'll do the meditation. Anyone have a win they want to share?
I guess mine is the checks,
Yeah,
the
I was going to
assembly
say
call it.
that is a great win.
I was gonna say too quiet. I'm not feeling all that well, but I showed up. I showed up today for myself, for you guys. So that's my win for today.
Awesome. That is a win when we're like, don't want to do anything.
Yeah, I feel like just a little bit better about being in the moment. We were away for my daughter's volleyball tournament on Friday and Saturday and just kind of like let work go, enjoyed being around the parents. And then on Sunday I was procrastinating and I kind of bit the bullet, did a little work and then was in the moment and went to the beach. I'm like, I'm just going, I'm done. So still struggling a little bit with in the moment, but yeah, anyway, it's getting better.
Yeah, and I feel like just like catching yourself like when you're not in the moment, like, oh, interesting, right? And just kind of noticing it, that actually brings you back into the present moment. So just the fact that you're aware that you weren't is a huge win. And when it comes to procrastination, we can actually do a segment on this at one point, but I truly believe that there's always like underlying reasons for procrastination. And oftentimes like we beat ourselves up because of it, but it's not really something that we need to beat ourselves up over because typically if you're procrastinating, it's usually only on like one or two things in your life, right? And you're usually really good actually about like getting things done and doing things. But then like we have this like myopic focus on like, oh, I'm not doing that, I'm procrastinating. But I also think that there's like a concept, I like to call it following the energy. That if there's no energy in it, that we can let it go, that it's not meant to be done today. And we don't know why, and we just trust that we will have the energy for it at some time. And so I like to use the affirmation, what didn't get done today didn't need to be done today. And then just like rooting in the trust of that, like what didn't get done today didn't need to be done today for whatever reason, even if external things are telling me that it had to be done. Nope, I'm trusting that there's like a higher perspective, that there's a reason. And when I take myself off the hook of that, inevitably I get the jolt of energy that I need when I need it to sit and do whatever it is, if it's sitting or cleaning or something. As long as I just like take myself off the hook, oftentimes when we have it on our minds, we're creating so much more resistance, like, oh, I have to do this, oh, I shouldn't be, you know what I mean? And it actually is like weighing so much on us that it just like creates more stickiness. So anyway, that's just my little thing on procrastination. We can kind of dig into that another time.
Sounds good. Yeah, I could use it. My
Okay.
headspace alert was like procrastination is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. I'm like, yep, it just keeps building.
Yeah, and yeah. I just think sometimes that there is a reason sometimes for procrastination. And I know for me too, something else that makes me procrastinate, makes me is my perfectionism. Like I feel like it needs to be done perfectly. And so then I like avoid doing it. But like, what if I let go of that and was like, okay, how can I just enjoy this process a little more? And when I do that, um, like, okay, I could always refine, right? Everything is like an iteration, like, or I'm always going to be like refining things. Let me just start with something and enjoy the process of it and then kind of go from there. And that usually helps to get the ball.
I like that. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. All right. Okay, I want to do a little meditation. Then I'm going to do some like self-inquiry. We're going to really kind of get down into this of this truth of who you are. So yeah, so if you feel more comfortable, you feel free to shut your cameras off and close down your eyes and just land here in this place, feeling yourself sitting in the chair, feet on the ground, clothes against your body. Noticing your quality of mind in this moment. And take a big deep breath in through your nose. And a long, slow exhale out through the mouth. Letting go of any tension, letting go of anything else that you were doing before this, anything that you have to do after this. Signaling to your body to totally relax. And do a little body scan from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet. Just notice if you're carrying any tension in your body. And just signal to your body to completely let go and relax. You're safe. Take another big deep breath in through your nose. And a long, slow exhale out through the mouth. Slowing things down. Feeling your own presence. Take one more big deep inhale in, the biggest one that you've taken all day, and take another little sip at the top. And a long, slow exhale, the longest one you've done today. Fully emptying your lungs. And now I want you to just inquire. Don't try to figure this out with your mind too much. But who is hearing my voice? What is hearing my voice? Do you hear it localized somewhere? Does it come in through the ears? What is hearing my voice? Are there any other sounds that you hear? Where do you hear those? What is aware of these sounds? Are there any thoughts in your head? Maybe you even say hello to yourself in your head. Who is aware of that voice? The own voice in your head. I want you to think about yourself as a little girl. You look down at yourself and you see a little girl's body. And then I want you to think of yourself as a teenager. You look down and you see a teenage body. Now, as an adult, you look down, you see an adult body. Maybe you start noticing when you look in the mirror things about your skin or things about your body that weren't there before, just some signs of aging. But what is aware of that? That same awareness that was aware of the little girl body and the teenage body and the adult body was unchanging. Can you notice the qualities of that awareness? Did that awareness change at all? Can you notice the space in between your thoughts? A thought comes, and another thought comes. But in between, you're aware of just space, silence. Can you listen for the silence here externally? The pauses in between my sentences. Paying attention to space. Without silence, we would never have sound. The silence is what creates the canvas for the music, for the sounds. The same thing with the space in your room. Without space, no furniture would be able to exist. You are the space that everything comes into being. You're aware of your body, you're aware of your thoughts, you're aware of sounds, smells. When you dream at night, you're aware of a dream. Who or what is aware? Prior to any thoughts, there is just an awareness. I am. Focus on your breathing. Who or what is breathing you? Think about the trillions of cells in your body, all orchestrating to keep you alive. Digesting your food, running blood and oxygen all throughout your body. Who is doing that? It's not the mind. Something beyond that. An intelligence. That same intelligence keeps the earth perfectly rotating around the sun. following day and night, orchestrating the seasons, the same intelligence that turns an acorn into an oak tree. The same intelligence that's in a bear that knows to hibernate for the winter. It's all within you. Start deepening your breath. Wiggling your fingers, wiggling your toes, moving your head from side to side. And when you're ready, you can blink your eyes open. No rush. How was that? Are you going to say something again?
I was just gonna say I got a little sleepy.
Oh, yeah, that happens. Especially this time of day.
I kept yawning too.
Yeah. It's actually honestly like it's not a bad thing if you fall asleep. Again, like I think I talked about this last time, like our brain waves are just slowing way down. So sometimes it's like hard to follow the words, but I would try to do like a self-inquiry meditation and I'll send them. Um when when you're maybe even a little more alert, just to start like inquiring, like turning our attention back onto itself. Does that make sense? So it's our awareness that's aware of our thoughts, our awareness that's aware of our name, that's aware of our body, that's aware of everything. But what if we were to turn that attention back onto itself, right? It's almost like a flashlight that's just shining outward, right? Whatever we shine our flashlight on, which is our attention, it lights up, right? And it comes into our own awareness. But can that flashlight like turn around and look at itself? So it's not something that is going to be able to be done, right? I think sometimes like when it comes to talking about this topic, it gets a little tricky because we're trying to understand it from the level of the mind. And the mind is finite. Our mind can only understand so much, it's limited. But what we're talking about is something that's infinite, it's unlimited, pure consciousness, pure awareness. And so it's difficult for the mind to understand these things. So I say, like, try not to like try so hard to comprehend it and like listen like with your body, like let it like sink in. Um And even like when doing the meditations, just be like, okay, yeah, what is aware? what what is that? And I like doing that thing where I think about the different times in my life because I remember being a little girl. Like I remember looking down at my hand and seeing like the dents where my knuckles were. You know how little kids have that? Like I remember seeing that, right? And if you think about it, like it's that same awareness, right? And when I was little, I felt so much older, and now that I'm older, I feel younger. It's because we're timeless, actually. This pure awareness is just witnessing our body going through time. And I think that that's really cool to think about because it helps you realize that we're so much more than just these limited constructs that we believe ourselves to be. I've said this before, but when if I were to ask you to describe who you are, you would probably say like, okay, I'm a woman. I'm work in finance or I work in tech. I'm married. I have a daughter. I have this, right? And when we think about that, those are all concepts. They're all concepts. And who you are goes way beyond any type of concept, right? It's much more than just a label. And so I sent that question out on the Telegram channel, like, who would you be if you couldn't bring in the past into this moment? Could you try and answer that? I would love to hear.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Yeah, but I really like the questions, like on all those limiting beliefs, right? Like, I couldn't possibly leave this job, and
Yeah, or like,
yeah.
yeah, exactly. Are there concepts about yourself that cause tension, right? Like, I'm not good enough, or I could never do that, or, um, like when are things going to change? Even something like that can be like cause a lot of tension within us. And so we want to get to this place where we can notice those things and not get so invested in them. So our thoughts are really powerful, as are our words, right? Our thoughts create, our words create, but really it's our thoughts imbued with emotion that are the most creative. So what I love about this practice, and it's just really given me such a sense of peace in my life, and especially when I have those nights where my mind is like reeling, I can be like, oh, I can take a step back and I can just watch the thoughts and not get invested in them. Because it's only when I get invested in the thoughts that they start making me feel a certain way. Right. But like, what if I just sat there as the observer and was like, oh, huh, like actually, it starts becoming kind of humorous, actually, when you start seeing the thoughts that are flying by. And you bring so much power back to yourself. And then you're not imbuing every thought with so much emotion. And so it loosens their force, their control over us. And so I love doing this work. I love bringing this module in because we can find so much peace when we start understanding our true nature. So I also took you through like the intelligence, right? Like there's an intelligence that's running your whole body, right? Like you're not beating your heart right now. Like you're not breathing. It's all being done on your behalf. So what is that intelligence? So I've showed this diagram before, but I love it because I think it's just like a good way to comprehend this. Can you guys see this? Okay. So you have the one eye, right? So it's like one awareness, one consciousness, right? There's one being in all of the universe, and that's that. And then in order to know itself, right? Because if you're just one thing, you couldn't know yourself. It started like breaking off into these other lenses, right? And so this same consciousness is in a tree, it's in a cat, it's in you, it's in every single person. It's just like a different lens. Like you can think of it as like a scuba mask, a different scuba mask that is like seeing through the lens of reality so that it can experience itself. Like how would want consciousness experience itself if there was no separateness from it. So it wanted to come into this form so it can play with everything that's here, right? And I love thinking about that because it makes me think of like, oh, like we're here to play and experience. Like we're not here to take ourselves so seriously. um, I like using a lot of analogies with this because I think it's just like easier to kind of wrap our minds around it. But I think of like a sun, right? So if a sun had all these different rays coming off of it, and one individual ray, it's looking outward, right? It's looking away from the sun. And if it looks next to it, it sees another ray, but it thinks it's separate from it and thinks that, oh, that's not me, that's something else. But if that ray were to turn inward and come back into itself, it would realize like, oh, I'm actually the whole sun, right? And it realizes that every aspect of it is coming from the same thing, the same source. And that's the same with us. Or I think about like a drop of water. If you believe you're a drop of water and that you're separate from the ocean, then you're going to feel this angst, right? You're going to feel this like need to, oh my gosh, I need to get bigger. I need more water to fill myself up. I need to feel safer and need to be more protected. But once you realize you're connected to that entire body of water, you would never need for anything, want for anything, because you know that you're connected to all of it. And so there's such a peace that comes with understanding this. And if there's any like anxiety, like, because I know that sometimes when people start doing this work and start doing some of that self inquiry through meditation, it can be a little scary. But if you think about who it's scary to the ego, which is that mind made self, all those mental constructs, right? Because once it understands that that's not who it is, that's the death of it. And so it's doing anything to like fight for its life. So it wants you to get scared. So actually, even getting sleepy in a meditation like that is a trick that the ego is playing to prevent you from kind of really going inward. So just know that those are just natural things that happen because this mental construct of who you are, it wants to be kept alive. Any questions so far?
No, it's just as we were doing that meditation, I was getting like images of light, and then the sounds were sounds of water. So the cars are outside and it sounds like the ocean. So it's really interesting to hear you say the light and the water components to
Oh,
that.
cool. Oh, I love that. Huh. Cool. You were picking up on it. Um, Another way I like to kind of think about this is think about a dream that you've had. Say you dream that you're on the streets of Paris, right? And you're walking through Paris, and then you wake up and you're like, oh, that was just a dream. And you realize that it was all your mind that constructed the city of Paris and you as the object. So you were the subject and the object of the whole dream, right? Your mind created both. And that's what's going on here too, right? Like you can even think of it, sometimes I think of it as like we're in a mind of one pure being and it's creating both subject and object. So we're having an individualized experience because it wants to have all these different individualized experiences, but it's the same thing. And our work here is to understand and deeply know ourselves, right? You've probably heard the phrase like know thyself. And I think sometimes when we hear that, we think, okay, well, I need to know myself, right? So I need to know, like, oh, what really makes me tick? I need to know, like, about my childhood traumas, why I am the way I am, and blah, 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 right? That's actually all understanding ourselves from the level of mind. That's all still mind, right? Past and what happened to us. That's all like getting to know us. And if that's the only way that you're looking at yourself, you can spend your entire life finding out more about you in that sense, right? You can literally have like a thousands of pages, like, okay, this is about me. But do you truly know yourself? Do you truly understand yourself as pure consciousness, as a being that's connected to everything? Right. And this is just another reason why I think meditation is so important. Oh, hmm. Hold on a second. I have somebody else trying to get into this meeting room. Um,
I wonder if it's Claudia coming back in
no, it's another client that I have who's getting the time mixed up. We're supposed to be meeting tomorrow at this time. And so, okay. Let me just check on something. Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, she's just getting that. I was like, who is coming into my Zoom room? Okay. And I didn't recognize her name at first, but anyway. So where was I? Yeah. So understanding ourselves is like not just understanding like who we are on this level of form, it's something deeper. And I think again, there's a lot of freedom when we can understand ourselves on that level because again, if we can spend our whole lives like, and this is why I think that like traditional therapy doesn't always work. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but and I think it definitely has its place for some things, but you're just working at the level of the mind. And so you're like, talking about your past, talking about your problems, and you're like focusing on all these things. And then like you're creating things in just that talking of it. And, okay, so great, you found out some things about yourself. Okay, and then how much more do you need to find out about yourself? And in reality, we can change. Like we can be whoever we want to be in this present moment. And it really it does not matter what happened in our past. Like we can use this moment to tune into any energy, any like trait that we want, any type of character that we want to play in this moment. And we'll get into that another in another module, um, but I like doing this because we want to wipe the slate clean. Basically, I want to show you that you're not who you believe yourself to be. You're so much more than this character that you're playing. And that's what this whole like non-duality is really about and it's to understand too that we're all one, right? That when you see another person, you have to understand that like you're a shared being, that you're both that they're just looking through a different lens, but you're coming from the same source. And I think this helps like dismantle a lot of things too, because when you understand that, like I wouldn't have to teach you guys to cut off your like that, not to cut off your own hand, right? Like you would never like intentionally hurt yourself like that. But then we're so quick to do something that maybe not that so not that violent, but we're quick to like hurt other people in some way in whatever way. But when we understand that anything that we do to them we're actually doing to ourselves because we're having this shared experience, um, then it becomes a lot easier to have compassion for people. Something that I love to listen to people's near-death experiences. I don't know if you guys have ever listened to near, Megan, you have. I find them to be really interesting. One of my favorite books is a book called Dying to Be Me by Anita Moorjani. Um, it's so good. It's about her near-death experience. It's so wild. But one of the things that most near-death experiences have in common is that they say they have a life review. And what happens is like they basically see their life and they see what they did to other people and they actually have to experience what the other person experienced. So it works both ways, both with something negative and something positive. So if you do something like if you hurt somebody else, you have to feel that hurt. But if you did something, beautiful and made somebody feel really good, then you get to feel that too, because they are you. We're all coming from this one source. We're shared beings, and I think that for me, I have to, remind myself of that sometimes because I can be short with people, on certain days or like, um, I want to like flip somebody off that cuts me off on the highway, right? And it's not to negate like that experience, like if it makes you mad, but understanding that we truly are this, right? And we're all part of the same thing. Every single thing we're part of, we're the same. We're like, I'm not separate from the tree. I'm not separate from the clouds. It's actually the same consciousness that's creating those things is also creating Adrian and just seeing out this lens. And so it helps too, like, again, with paying attention to the narrative that's going on up here and then not getting so invested in it. And this past week, I've been in a really like funny place. Like I've been complaining a lot about Omaha. And I've been like really down and negative on it. And I had to kind of like snap myself out of it. I'm like, why do I have such a bad attitude about this all of a sudden? And and it's creating like a stressful experience for me. Like I was seeing how it was like then creating this whole like narrative and this whole story in my mind about yeah, just about silly things. And it was making me feel so crappy. And so this morning I woke up and I was like, I'm not going to go there today. I'm just not going to think about that. And if it comes up, like, I'm just gonna be like, oh, haha, that's funny. It's just like my mind loves to complain about shit, is kind of what it comes down to. And so it's always finding something to complain about. And if I'm not careful, it can start like running away with itself and it can start making me feel a certain way, like feel uncomfortable or feel sad or depressed. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to buy into that anymore. That's like, you know, it's not productive in any way. I also had this like thought recently. I was thinking about myself like a year ago, um, or 2 years ago or whatever. And I was thinking about when I was like in my condo in Denver and every morning I wake up super early, I meditate, I would take a cold shower, I would like write out my goal, or I would sit in front of the mirror, like listening to like emotional music, and I would like say my goals out loud. And then I'd go for a walk, and I had this like whole thing. And I started getting like choked up and like teary eyed, just like thinking about those experiences because when you're in that experience, you kind of miss the beauty of it, right? You miss like, okay, I'm just doing this because I want to get somewhere else. Like I'm talking about my goals because this isn't good enough and I want to be somewhere else, right? And it just like brought this like tear to my eyes where I'm like, oh my gosh, actually it was so fun. I loved doing that. I like loved my morning time and it was beautiful and it was amazing. And this is what kind of inspired me to talk about that destination addiction right on the if you listen to that voice transmission because we can lose sight of what we're doing today, right? Just because we think that there's some future place that's going to be better. And so even though I was like doing those things like in anticipation of like some future thing, actually it was so fun. I like really loved it. And so I was like, okay, let me bring that back into here. Like I have a different morning routine here, but I still love it. Actually, like it's so fun. I get to wake up with my partner every morning and then and we do the Wim Hof breathing almost every morning together and we're like holding hands as we're laying in bed. I know it's super cheesy, um but it's so fun. And then we make coffee together and we're like doing, stuff on the computer and we meditate. Sometimes we meditate, sometimes he has to leave whatever it is. And but I'm like, okay, how can I like really soak up like the deliciousness of these experiences right now, right? Knowing that like this is life. This is where it all happens just in this moment. And it doesn't have to be perfect and it doesn't have to look, the way my mind thought it would. And I just really believe like when we start following the things that our mind tells us to, like, oh, like, go do this, you're gonna be happy. Go do this. And then we get there and it falls flat. And I think it's because like our mind doesn't know shit. And so we don't want to like invest so much in that. Um, I sent out that my Monday email yesterday, and I don't know if you guys read it, but it's something that I've been like joking around about to my partner, where I'm like, you know what? Like, I want to give up my personal preferences because clearly, like, I don't know what's best for me. Like, I think I want something, right? I thought I wanted to get married. I thought I wanted that promotion to be a wholesaler. Like, I thought I wanted these things, and then I get there, and then I'm like, oh shit, like, not really, right? Like, um, and so I'm like, what if I just like let go of my personal preferences and just like completely trusted in the flow of life? Have you guys ever read the book, The Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer? Courtney, you have? Yeah. It's so good, right?
I listened to it on a road trip when I took
Okay.
a year off from work,
Oh, cool.
and it's one of my favorite books.
Me too. And I just re-listened to it again. It's a great one to listen to. I haven't read it, I've only listened to it. Um, Because it's the same thing with him, right? He gave up his personal preferences and look at the life he created. It's insane. Um, and so Megan, it's just about how he's like, he goes to live alone in the woods because he wants to just like investigate, like he wants to just meditate and like and have these like spiritual experiences. And then all these things keep happening to him. Like somebody comes to live with him in the woods and he's like, his mind is like fighting against it. I'm like, no, you can't live here. And he's like, nope, I'm just gonna trust in the flow of life. This voice doesn't know anything. And his life turns, I mean, it's just amazing. Like the miracle after miracle that like happened. And he ended up building like this $1 billion software company. And like, I mean, it's just wild.
And then he like accumulates like all this land because
Yeah.
all these people like come out and yeah,
Yeah, and he
it's
has
so
this, and he
crazy.
still has this whole like huge piece of property down in Florida where it's called like the Church of the Universe or something like that, where they have like spiritual retreats. Um, and I have all these like spiritual teachers come and speak there and just some like really amazing stuff. So, again, like when I get what I think I want, um, it doesn't always satisfy me. And I think it's oftentimes because it's coming from the conditioning. It's coming from, I was told like, oh, you're supposed to get married now, right? Or you're supposed to have a successful job. You're supposed to have this. And then it wasn't for me. And so, or I shouldn't say it necessarily wasn't for me, but it was, yeah, just not like I was just doing things for the wrong reasons, right? And and then it doesn't have that lasting fulfillment in them. Now, when it comes to this type of stuff, this like non-duality exploration, what's really cool is when we think about it, like we're all searching for the same thing, which is what like happiness, right? We're all searching to be happy and at peace. And we wouldn't even be searching for that if we didn't know it. Let that just sink in for a second, right? Like you wouldn't be searching for something like if there was only suffering, like you would just that just is what it is. But we know deep in our hearts from this state of being, from this, that we know that happiness and peace is available to us. And we come into this individualized form to suffer a little bit so that we can have the duality of both sides, the suffering and then the bliss of remembering and returning back to that place. So that's what we're doing here, right? We come in to have this individualized experience, forget the truth of who we are, so that we can go on this journey of remembering and getting to that happiness and that peace that is like our true nature. It goes beyond what the external conditions are in our lives. It really is, um, it's just something like innate in us. The thing is, like, we can grasp like glimpses of happiness and joy and peace, like through certain like worldly pleasures, like through maybe having an experience of money or through sex or through something, right? Where it's like, oh, and you feel that for a moment and then it goes back down. So then we're kind of conditioned to believe, oh, it's in the external form. But we're the source of it. Everything that we feel, we're the source of. It never actually is the external thing. It's always coming from within us. So we can learn to cultivate these feelings of happiness and joy and lasting peace from within by really like going within and forgetting about the limited stories that our mind likes to tell about ourselves. And so that's part of this work is transcending those limiting stories to realize that, oh, these are just stories. These are just things that my mind is saying, and I don't have to buy into them. And the less we're imbuing them with emotion, the more free we will be. Does that make
So
sense?
like if I'm just thinking of like a concrete example. Let's say like at work we're presenting, and I feel like all the time I just get like innately, it's not even like I'm not even aware of the thought, but I get
Mhm.
nervous when I have to present something in front of like an executive, because I think I just want to come off as competent and
Mhm.
that I know what I'm talking about and confident and trustworthy and
Yeah.
all these things. And it's like, if I was just talking to you guys or I was just talking to my girlfriends, like, I don't have that nervousness.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a beautiful question. Okay. Let's unpack a couple of things about this. So the first thing is, and yeah, it's very subconscious, right? It's like not it's just a feeling that you're coming to with it, right? And that feeling is one because we feel like we're lacking in some way and we feel like we need to prove ourselves, right? And so once we realize that we're not lacking in any way, that they're actually just reflections of us, and the moment we feel secure and confident in ourselves, they will reflect that back to us. As long as we feel wobbly or insecure, they will pick up on that and they'll reflect that back to us. It's kind of like your whatever you're fearing almost like happens, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is like before you ever have to present, I want you, who is somebody that, or I think you said who's somebody that like you really admire, like a woman that you really admire. I think you said it was like the CEO of your company.
Yeah.
Do you think like I want you to literally close your eyes and channel her, right? And like go into that meeting with that. Because think about like if you were her, like what type of thoughts would you be having before a meeting like that?
I feel like she's like, I want to bring the energy so that other people feel excited about this presentation and that it's organized, and I want to like communicate what I want them to hear, and I want them to feel just as excited as I am.
Yeah. And so just feel into that and be like, okay, those are the thoughts I'm gonna have in my mind. I know like for me, when I have to give a presentation or actually, like, as I've been teaching spin class, I've been really noticing this happening. Whereas, like, I like want the class to be over because I'm like nervous because I'm worried about what they're thinking. And I worry to like, oh, are they not having a good experience? But as soon as I'm like, oh shit, no, that doesn't matter. Let me just have fun. Let me have fun in this energy. Let me just like affirm things to myself like, oh, this is like the best workout of their lives. They're having a blast. I'm having a blast as soon as I could shift that narrative in my head, now granted, it's obviously very different circumstances, but it helps me like take that pressure off myself. Like, why am I putting that pressure on myself? Like it's so right. And it makes me like not like spinning. It makes me not like teaching. But as soon as I shift it to like, no, this is fucking fun. I've been wanting to do this. Like I like this because I'm having fun. It gets me back into just the spirit of it, of like being in the moment and like enjoying myself while I'm doing it. And so, and Megan, I feel like you had a similar situation going on with like being a teacher. You're like, when you were teaching and you were like, I thought I wanted to do this, but actually I don't think I do. And it's because you're nervous that you're being judged, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. I'm like, oh, this is dry toast. They're like so bored. Like nobody cares about the optimal buy quantity. But then I had more thoughts around like I would spend like 45 minutes, 30 minutes at the end of class talking to my students about like their future and like what they want to do and job interviews and like where they're headed. And like, oh, you had to do this to realize like that's what you're passionate about. So yeah.
Cool.
Anyway,
I love that.
yeah, it's interesting that you bring that up because I've been thinking about that a ton lately. So thanks.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like there's such like a difference in like teaching where you're like presenting and you're getting no feedback. Whereas like talking to students afterwards, you're like really feeling that connection.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good point.
Totally. Yeah, that's a good point too. Yeah, so it really has so much to do with the narrative that's going on in our minds, right? If we feel like we're being judged, if we feel like we have to be perfect, that's going to make anything suck, right? Like we're not going to want to do anything. But as soon as we can change that narrative in our minds, the task becomes a lot easier. Actually, I have a great exercise that Courtney you can do before a presentation, and I like to do this before I like to do this anytime I'm doing what I call um like a cl- like bringing in any type of business, like if I'm doing like outreaches on LinkedIn or something, right? I like to get myself in the mindset of it. So what I do is I do an attitude check. So what I do is I write attitude at the top of the page and I'll rank my attitude from on a scale from 1 to 10. And what attitude is, and this is like what I when I was teaching on Bob Proctor's program, he had a whole module on it, is the combination of your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions all together. That's what attitude is. So I would write down TFA and I'd be like, okay, what am I thinking right now? And I would write out what I was thinking, and oh my God, it's insane how negative it could be. It's like, it would be like, no, like these people don't want to hear from me. I'm annoying. Like, is what I'm doing even helping anyone? Like, just all that dumb shit, right? And just getting it out on paper is actually really helpful because again, you're not aware of it. It's just like flying through here and it's anyway. And then you go to feelings. How am I feeling? Well, I'm feeling like kind of anxious. I'm feeling low energy. I'm feeling whatever it is, not good enough. And what actions am I taking or not taking because of it, right? I'm procrastinating on this. I'm, you know, not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm looking for other things. I'm avoiding. And then I cross that out and I flip over the page and I write attitude 10 and I write TFA. Okay, what do I want to be thinking? And I'll write down things like these people need me. These people are waiting for me to show up and to step into my power. Like there are so many clients that I can serve that are just that I need to help, right? And I'll write like I'm the best in the world at what I do. And I'll write down the thoughts that I want to be thinking. And okay, how do I want to be feeling? Well, I want to be feeling, I always start with energized, excited, grateful. And then I just go into like a whole list, like my feelings and like, oh, I want to be feeling like happy and abundant and rich and confident and all these things. And then what actions am I taking from there? Okay, I'm doing retubs. I'm doing this, I'm doing whatever. So I will do that. And then just doing that alone, writing down those like the positive thoughts and feelings, oh man, it shifts your energy so much. And what we're sending out is what we're receiving back. So you're sending out a totally different energy just by checking in with yourself. And this takes like 5 minutes to do. So I highly recommend doing that before any presentation or thing that you have to do at work.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's just like a nice little hack.
I have a big presentation next week, so that's
Oh,
really, really
cool.
helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So
Yeah. And then close your eyes for a second and then just channel who you want to be, right? Think of like a specific person. Be like, hey, how would they be showing up? Like, what would they be thinking about? Like, they're not worried about what the fuck people think about them. They go in there and just kill it, right? And so, yeah. Cool. All right. Any questions on non-duality and the truth of who you are?
No, I feel
but
like
ladies, I got real quick. So sorry. I will see you next week.
Yeah, no worries. Bye,
This was
Claudia.
awesome,
Claudia.
by the way. Awesome, awesome stuff.
Thanks for coming.
Okay, bye.
Bye. What were you gonna say, Megan?
oh, I over a couple days watched the Zach Bush video
Mhm.
that you sent, and yeah, I think some of that has some parallels here.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I
Cool.
forget what I was going to say, but yeah,
Did you like the interview?
I did. Yeah, it was again really timely information with some other stuff I've been thinking about. So
Cool.
yeah.
Yay. I know, I'm trying not to like give, I know I've mentioned a lot of books and a lot of podcasts and stuff. I don't want to like overwhelm you guys too much, but always just, always run it by yourself. Like, oh, does this feel good? Does this feel like, don't ever feel like pressure to listen to everything or read everything. Only if it like piques your curiosity. So for this next week, I really want you to focus on, and I'm going to send a couple meditations of these like self-inquiry meditations. Um, and so, yeah, there's one that's a little longer, but it's by a woman who I really like. Her name is Louise Kay, and she teaches all about non-duality. But this meditation's about 20 minutes, and it's just kind of like a nice, spacious meditation, like just, cueing you not all that much. But she has, I don't know, she just kind of has like a way about her that I like what she guides. So I'm going to send that and a couple others. So if you can just really focus on these for like the next week, I think it'll be really helpful.
And then Adrian, I will be getting on a plane next week, so
Oh, okay.
I don't know if I'll have time to jump on.
Okay. Yep. No worries. Thanks for letting me know.
Yep.
Where are you going? Anywhere fun?
Birmingham, Alabama for work.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yep.
I've never been to Alabama.
It's actually quite nice.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I would actually like to go. I want to visit every state, so.
I definitely encourage you to visit there. They have great like botanical gardens and
Oh, cool.
yeah, it's a sweet
Fun.
place.
The beaches are awesome too, a little more affordable,
Yeah,
right?
that's what I
Yeah.
thought. Yeah.
Yep.
Fun. All right. Well, I hope you ladies have a wonderful week, and we will be chatting on Telegram.
Thank
Sounds
you.
good.
Okay.
Good night.
You're
Bye.
gonna nail that presentation, Courtney.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you
You too,
guys.
Megan, if we don't meet before then.
All right, thanks.
Bye.
Bye.